Okay, well, thank you for being here with us. We are grateful to have your show here at the Hise Gallery. Just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, my name is Sandro. Born in Elgin, Illinois. I attended for a year a community college in Elgin Community College, and it was a place that I ran into two teachers that really encouraged me to become a photographer. You know, I had this incredible desire and dream of becoming a photographer, but it really took somebody that said, hey, you're good, get out there and go do it. And, you know, I took that advice and ran with it, and now here I am 50 years later here at the Hise Museum.
Yeah. So you kind of got your start at a community college?
I got my start at a community college. I mean, I learned the dark room in that community college, and I would go on. I built one of the nicest dark rooms in Chicago, and I basically spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in that dark room. I really enjoyed, you know, the magic. And to me, it's in many ways, it's very sad today that our youth goes right into digital and they don't experience the magic of what happened inside of the dark room, because, yeah, that's where it all, for me, really felt like this is a magical medium. Yeah.
It's easy to lose time in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you wind up here? How did Lonnie come to find you? How'd you wind up here?
Well, very interesting enough. I hope that didn't bother you there. I met Peggy, her name is, at the park yesterday, and invited her to come and listen to us speak. And Peggy is here. So how did I end up here at the Elizabeth Hise Museum? Strangely, Lonnie Mann, the curator of the museum here, gave me a call months and months ago, sort of out of a whim, and discussed with me the possibility of coming to Southern Illinois here and showing this body of work. This body of work had traveled all over the world, had probably close to 20-25 museum exhibitions in Europe, but had not been shown in its entirety here in the United States. There was 3 very prominent galleries in the United States that showed a portion of the work. The work took 5 years to complete, and these galleries got what I would call a whiff of the project and wanted to show it right away and didn't wait till the project was completely done. And to no fault of theirs, maybe more fault of mine, you know, I let it go and let it be shown. And then there was some agents in Europe that saw the work at its completion and took it on and then shared it with Europe, all over Europe. And the work became extremely visible. It had been written up hundreds of times in magazines all over the world. And I would imagine that most curators who know anything about photography had probably seen the project or had read about it. And Lonnie called me, and Lonnie is probably the sweetest man I've ever met in my life. You know, I don't even say he convinced me. It didn't take very much convincing for me to say yes to Lonnie to come down here and show. You know, I knew that I was going to I was bringing this show for the first time to the United States to be seen in its entirety to a small market. But speaking with Lonnie and having a discussion with him, I thought that there couldn't be a better place in the world to send this show, because I understood that there was, a fair amount of very creative people down here in Southern Illinois.
There are.
And I also understood that the opportunity for this population to see great exhibitions like this in their hometown was very difficult. And after I had a discussion with my wife and discussed it with Lonnie, I really felt that this isn't about me. This isn't about John. This is about the people of Harrisburg and the people in the surrounding areas of Harrisburg and the people that attended Southeastern University, and the people that were here. We wanted to do it for them. And at last night's opening, the overwhelming joy and appreciation that was given towards me and my wife for coming here was touching, really touching, because I really understood that what we did was the right thing. And then I will have to say that when I walked through the doors here at the Elizabeth Hise Museum, I was absolutely blown away. It's an extraordinary structure. It's a beautiful museum. My show took up 3 huge rooms. The floors of this museum shine like a mirror, and there's these beautiful reflections of my images on the floor. And when I looked at the photographs on the wall, and then the reflections caught my eye, I felt like I was in some heavenly spot. And it was quite different than the museums that I showed over in Europe, which many of them were 200, 300, 400 years old. And now I stood in this very contemporary space and felt the same type of spirit that I would feel in these 300, 400, 500-year-old buildings in Europe. And then when the people walked in, and I started seeing these people from Southern Illinois, Missouri, and Kentucky that came to visit, and I saw real, wholesome, beautiful people who were very curious and wanted a new experience, and were very grateful and very thankful and very respectful. I knew I was in the right place.
Okay, so how did you know John Malkovich before, or did you meet him during this? Did you propose this idea to him? How did this show come to be?
Yeah, one of the, great question is how did this show came about? Did I know John Malkovich prior to this project? I met John in 1996 or 97, and I'm a little foggy, but I know it was right after John had filmed Con Air. And when I got the call from Steppenwolf Theater, which John was going to be on stage at Steppenwolf Theater, and they needed some portraits of John, I went and I visited. I turned on my television, I rented Con Air and watched the film. And I knew John Malkovich before I watched the film. He's one of our great American artists. But watching Con Air, I was, it was a frightening character. He played Cyrus the Virus. So I was expecting Cyrus the Virus to show up at my studio a couple days later. But fortunately for me, this man came up. He was dropped off by a taxi cab. He did not have an entourage with him. He came by himself. I answered the door, approached him. He put his hand out and said, "Hi, I'm John Malkovich." And that was the beginning of our relationship. And that day I did a handful. We got 5 really beautiful portraits of John. And John thanked me at the end and said, "It was just a beautiful experience working with you, Sandro. Thank you for being so ready, and together, and, doing a job well done." And I thanked him because John, I could see, understood the camera, he understood light, he understood direction very well. And he was wonderful to work with. And that would become the beginning of now a 37-year relationship. John would come into town because he enjoyed working with me. When he would come into town in Chicago, he would call me and say, "Sandro, I'm in town for a few days. Would you like to get together and shoot?" And you have to understand that for a photographer, this is a dream come true. To work with somebody that is an incredible genius like John, and he's willing to give you everything about himself, time, but his talent. And there was no magazine, there was no creative director, there was no PR people involved. This was just me and John having fun and creating crazy imagery and films and just doing what we wanted to do. There was nothing in between. mine and John's mission of creating just fun, artful work.
That's when the best things happen.
Yeah, when the best things happen. And so John had, I've been working with John for about 11, 14, 15, about 16 years before this project was created. And this project was conceived in 2011. I had been diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer. And it was during this period of time of recovery and trying to believe that I was going to be okay, that I was going to make it, and looking for light in my life that would give me the power I needed to make it to the next day. I conceived the idea of paying homage to the great, great, great photographers of the past and of the present time. And it was these photographers who really taught me what I needed to know to become the portrait photographer that I was. And up until 2011, I had an amazing career. Things were going incredibly well. I had a lot to be thankful for. And I wanted to just take that time and thank the others. And I came up with the idea of, recreating an image in a way to pay homage to these masters, but to pay homage in a way that they would be proud of the image. That the ones who had transitioned and who had already left us, people like Karsh and Penn and Avedon, Arnold Newman, that if they could see what I created for them, they would applaud and say, "Job well done, Sandro. I'm honored that you took my image and made it into what you did." And this is how the project came about, and it was a 5-year project. After I conceived it and started thinking about it, and I finally got to the place where I could travel, I got on an airplane and went to the south of France and went and visited John at his home. This wasn't something I was going to pick up the phone or send him an email on. This was too important. This was too big. And he made me a beautiful dinner. We drank a couple bottles of wine. We had an enjoyable evening. I sat through a phone call that he had with Tom Hanks, listened to those two talk. And then finally, when he hung up the phone, I said, "John, let's talk about what I'm here for." And I brought out my idea. I showed him some images, told him what I wanted to do, and tell him what I felt that this could be. And John took a look at this on the table, and he said, "Sandro, this is just like theater. This is theater. I'll become these characters. You'll direct me, and it'll be like theater. Yes. Let's do this. Yeah. So that was it. We were off and running. And then 5 years later, this is the result of 5 years of work, 50, 60 different people working, with me, all specialists in whatever they did. A great deal of funding that I had to raise myself through my commercial work in order to pay staff, pay for the props, pay for everything, pay for John. It was a huge undertaking. We really didn't know what was going to come of the project. We never knew that it was going to become as famous or as popular as it did. And I wasn't really doing it for that. I was doing it because I really felt that I needed to do this. I had a second chance in life, and this was my chance to say thank you to these great, great, great photographers. I planned on sending the live ones, their images, and, maybe did an exhibition. And the work went viral, and all of a sudden that was it. I was getting calls from all over the world to show the work.
Great.
Yeah. And here I am in Southern Illinois. When Lonnie called me, it was a few minutes into the conversation, and he told me that, John was from Benton, Illinois, which I knew. I had no idea geographically where Harrisburg was or Benton, Illinois. It was never a need for me to look it up. So I didn't know that they were sister cities, and they were very close by. So I knew that this could also become, in a way, a homage to John and the work that he's done. And the people of Benton and Harrisburg and the surrounding areas are very proud of John. John's a good guy. He's not in the tabloids doing a bunch of bad things. He's one of the greatest American actors that ever hit the stage or the silver screen. And so there is a sense of proudness here that Malkovich was from here. And one of his cousins came yesterday.
Yeah.
She was just very, 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 very moved by the project. And, so I think that this, Lonnie didn't particularly say, hey, we need to get John Malkovich here. It wasn't about that. He wasn't trying to bring a celebrity to the museum that he was now curating at in order to fill space to see a celebrity. Lonnie did the right thing. And he said, I want to bring good art to my region. And I want to bring an artist that may be able to inspire and influence others. And his head was always in the right place. And I appreciated that a lot because, I get a lot of calls, hey, can you and John Malkovich come to this and that? And I know what that means. Sandro, call John, get John to come there, and I get it, and I'm okay with that, but Lonnie said, we don't need John, not that he wouldn't, he didn't say it in mean way. I want you, which was really beautiful to hear. So.
Well, we are grateful that you decided to come all the way down to the cornfields.
And we are very happy to be here. I've got to be honest with you. You always feel good after an opening, but this was special.
It was.
Because of the people that showed up and the appreciation. I can't tell you how many people said, thank you so much for bringing your art here. And I feel with what we did, I'm not saying we changed people's lives, but we enlightened people's lives. We opened their eyes, even if it's for 5 minutes. If we made somebody smile 10 minutes, if we made somebody feel something while they were here, that's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Just stay right there and just
Yeah, boo-boo. Yeah, boo-boo.